Did you know that the biggest impact from a gratitude practice doesn't come from sitting down and writing in a gratitude journal? I know that that's what most people think about when it comes to thinking about having a gratitude practice. And honestly, that's what I thought about it too until today. I'll tell you all about this in today's video, as what I found out kind of surprised me about gratitude. We'll also talk about a number of ways that you can use your planner or a journal, and I'll share with you some gratitude hacks, such as how to feel grateful when you don't really feel like feeling it. Gratitude is one of the easiest tools you can use to find more happiness. And so that's why I'm super excited to share this with you here today, and to share with you some of the nuances to a gratitude practice that you just might not have heard about before. So feeling grateful is really powerful stuff. Just the other day, I got up in the morning and I was just feeling kind of blah, very unmotivated to do all the things that I knew that I really needed to do and should do that day. Fortunately, I have a very strong morning routine that's really well established by this point. So I went ahead and went through my usual motions of everything, even though I'm feeling like it. One of those is journaling, and a part of that is listing down the things that I'm grateful for in my journal. And I'll be honest, doing this didn't make me feel like I was ready to jump up and get started doing things when I listed down my gratitude. But what it did do that morning was it made me feel just a little bit and enough better that I was able to decide, well, okay, now I'm going to list my top 3 priorities for the day, which I hadn't really even felt like thinking about a few minutes earlier. A few minutes earlier, I was thinking about contemplating just making it a personal wellness day, cozying up on the couch somewhere for the morning, reading a good book. Anyway, I did list what I wanted to do for the day, and the gratitude gently motivated me enough to feel like writing down the priorities for the day. And when I did that, at that point, I was able to think to myself, yeah, I can do this. And it actually became quite a productive day. Now, my journal has a place on its daily pages specifically for gratitude, but you can just as easily carve out a spot in any planner that you're using and record it as your own daily things that you are feeling grateful for. Or usually any planner has like a blank page. They have them either at the front or the back. And this is a great place that you could just start a gratitude list, and you can just write a few things down and then just keep adding a few more things to the list each day. Now, if you know and have known me for a while, you might think that gratitude is something that's always come really easy to me, but that's really not the case. Back in my early years of being a single mom in particular, back then I was struggling to pay my bills, and I wasn't finding gratitude easy at all. In fact, I was pretty down on the life that I had created for myself at that point. However, I was actively searching for ways that I could make my life better and be more positive, that type of thing. And I remember that one day I was on my way to work, and I was driving down the road in my little yellow VW Bug that I was driving at that time, and I was listening to an Esther Hicks audiobook, and she was talking about gratitude. And I can remember how she gave examples of things that you could be grateful for that I hadn't even considered before. I don't know, I guess I was always thinking that you had to think about the big things in your life to be grateful for, or maybe it was like just your family and that type of thing. And at that point in time, even though I was grateful for my family, the rest of the things I was grateful for, they felt like they were in short supply, or at least for the big things. And she explained, though, how you could be grateful for things like how smooth the traffic went that morning on your way to work, Or there's a whole host of other everyday things she mentioned. And this really changed my view on gratitude, and I've never looked at it the same way since. You can always find something to be grateful for, even when you don't feel like it. Even when you're depressed, I've found things to be grateful for. You just have to look for the little things. My job at that time might not have been the greatest back then, but after that I realized that I could be thankful that I even had a job. I realized that I could be thankful that even though I had to get into work before the sun went up that in the morning, and I had to work until after the sun went down every evening, I was working a lot back then, that I could be grateful that I got to watch the sunrise for just a few minutes as it went up over the Big Mac Bridge across the Ohio River, and I could take just a few moments in the morning to just notice how beautiful that was. And I could be thankful for something like getting to hear the birds in the morning when I woke up, or how great a breeze felt on my face. All of a sudden, I had so much more to feel grateful for, and it was just so much easier to access. And so this leads me to another way that you can use your planner or your journal for your gratitude practice. List on what gave you joy, what you saw that was beautiful that day, and a small win for yourself. And if you think about it, these two are all ways to practice gratitude, just though in a slightly different way. And there actually have been quite a few people that told me that answering those three questions about beauty and joy and a small win, when they did that on a daily basis, it really changed their life. A couple of them even told me it brought them out of a very deep depression. So gratitude in that way too can be really, really, really powerful. So another thing that some people have issues with and feel like they struggle with a gratitude practice is they feel like they're writing down the same thing every day and they can't think of anything different to write down. Well, hopefully by now I've given you some other ways to think about gratitude, so maybe it can kind of broaden your thoughts on that. But at the end of the day, I think it's perfectly okay and good, in fact, sometimes to write down the same thing that you're grateful for time and time again. I am constantly listing the people in my life and my family that I care about in my list of gratitude. And I think with this, the key is not to just simply list it without a lot of thought. I think the key is to just take a moment and really allow that feeling of how and why you're grateful for these things that keep coming up repeatedly, how that feels in your body, and just really, really lean into that gratitude feeling. And if you do this, then it's continuing to help you, even if you're writing it down repeatedly. So we still need to talk about what I learned today that surprised me about gratitude. I happened to see and listen to an Andrew Huberman video on the science of gratitude, and it turns out that what's most impactful about gratitude is quite different from what most people believe. The biggest boost to your wellness that comes from gratitude actually comes from when you're receiving gratitude from others, or from when you are watching other people receive gratitude. When that happens, you get a huge increase of serotonin and oxytocin when that happens. Now, of course, we don't have a whole lot of ability to control how much gratitude we receive, but if you think about it, it does feel good when you're saying thank you genuinely to someone else. And in some ways, I think that it actually can become reciprocal, particularly when you practice it regularly. There probably isn't a day that goes by that my husband Kurt and I don't say thank you to each other for something. It's usually just the simple little things that we do for each other that we're saying thank you to each other for, such as taking out the trash, or cooking dinner, or cleaning up the kitchen after a meal. It's really the things that we actually expect from each other that we're thanking each other for. Research also shows that giving thanks can make you feel happier too. And I know that I feel happy when I'm thanking Kurt for something, which, if I think about it, is probably because at that moment I'm saying thank you. I'm also feeling grateful. I think it also feels really good to know, now that I understand this, that when you say thank you to someone else, you essentially are giving them a happiness hug, if you will, because they're getting a big boost of those happiness chemicals every time you thank them. So the question is, how can you make a practice of incorporating more giving of gratitude into your life as well? Well, one thing you could do is to use the monthly calendar section of your planner to record at least one instance each day where you have told someone thank you for what they've done for you. And for me at least, while saying thank you to Kurt has become second nature, I'm not so sure that I've done such a good job of extending it outside my home. And so I think trying to do that could be a really good daily reminder to myself to get me in that practice of taking the opportunity to express my gratitude and thanking people more often on a daily basis. So we've talked a lot today about how gratitude can make you feel happy. And if you're interested in other ways to boost your level of happiness and just boost the general overall level of happiness in your life, you also may like to watch my video on the keys to happiness. And then lastly, I also wanted to let you know about one more way that you can find enjoyment in your life as well, and that's through the practice of mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness has really been life-changing for me, and so I'd love to share how it has made me do things a little differently in my life by inviting you to join me in a mindfulness eating challenge, or a mindful eating challenge. I'm going to host that right here on this channel in the first week of March. So go ahead and mark your calendars, as it's going to be a lot of fun, and you just might find that it changes your life for the better as well. If you want a reminder about this so that you don't forget and miss it, then you can sign up for my email. I'll put a link to sign up for the challenge in the description. As we wrap up here, a big thank you to you for watching today. And if you have found this video helpful, I too would absolutely love to receive gratitude from you as well by you sharing this with someone else that you think also might find it helpful to them too. So thanks again. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here with me and joining me. And I hope to see you at the challenge.